Hello my friends, it's Lisa and welcome to my bullet journal setup for April. So this month I decided to go with this kind of like picture frame, gallery wall kind of thing. I originally wanted to do a kind of window that you would look through and see like a sunset or something through it. But I have already done kind of a theme like that last year where it was like the August theme that I did that was based off of the song by Taylor Swift. And also even just last month I did have a window kind of in the center of that like library illustration that I had. So I decided to not do that and maybe do that again in the future. And then I was just kind of trying to think of things that I could put different images in, and for some reason I thought of picture frames. Then it spiraled into, a gallery wall sort of vibe, and now that's what I decided to do. So I definitely got a lot of inspiration from Pinterest because I wanted ideas for the things to fill the frames with. I wasn't quite sure what vibe I wanted to go for, and obviously I wanted to make the kind of drawings and doodles that I was doing within the frames to be pretty simplistic, so that when I was drawing them a million times throughout these spreads, it wasn't anything too complicated. I just wanted them to be pretty minimalistic and simple to do over and over again. But two, Pinterest was helpful in giving me ideas for different frames that I could do. Again, wanted to keep things relatively simple because I knew I was going to be drawing a lot of frames throughout these entire spreads. So I did do a lot of just like plain rectangular ones, but as you can see, there is some variety, some of the funky like circular ones. I also did ones that kind of have like the wood at the top and the bottom that kind of hold the picture in. It's kind of the one that's holding that leaf kind of thing. I thought that those frames were kind of cool, so I wanted to include a couple of those as well, but definitely got a lot of help from Pinterest in giving me ideas for not only the frames but the actual doodles within the frames. So I'm just taking a brown pen, which any supplies that I use will be linked below if you want to know any particular products or shade colors or anything like that, but I am using a brown pen to kind of outline every single frame, and then I do go in with a few different shades of like brown and tan to kind of color in the frames. I didn't want the frames to all be the same color, but I wanted them to be kind of similar so that the actual drawings within them would stand out. So I just went with a kind of brown theme for the frames, and as you can see, I do a lot of different doodles within them, some more modern and minimalistic, and that's just kind of what I do throughout all of these spreads. So now we're moving on to my calendar spread. So I'm just going in and drawing again with the brown pen. I use mostly brown pens. I don't think I used any of my black markers or pens or anything throughout these spreads. I just think that the brown kind of tied in with the picture frames and everything. So just using my brown pen to draw in the calendar and the kind of days of the week at the top, and then I go in with one of my Tombow pens to write out the numbers, and then I am once again drawing a bunch of frames and a bunch of doodles. I definitely wanted to show kind of the different things that I was doing at first, but I do kind of move things along later on in this video. I don't show every single drawing that I do just because it does get a bit repetitive seeing me draw a bunch of squares and circles and a bunch of the same kind of doodles. This is also one of those themes that can be taken and done in so many different ways because you can just kind of change up what you're actually drawing within the picture frames. You could change up the color scheme. I wanted to do a pretty colorful color palette for my April spreads just because, it's spring and I just wanted, those bright, fun spring colors. But I also had a pretty neutral theme last month, so I just wanted something a bit different from that, even though I do love a good neutral moment. So this definitely is a theme that could be changed depending on what kind of colors you want to use and everything, what kind of drawings you want to do, and I think it's one that I could maybe like do again in the future, maybe slightly different, and do like a totally different color palette, different drawings and things like that. And obviously it would be cool to see other people do it, but I am not Amanda Rach Lee. I don't have millions of people trying to recreate my journal spreads every month, but it is one that could be very versatile depending on what you want to do. So while we watch me finish up my calendar spread, I thought we could have a little bit of a chatty moment. I definitely would love to do more like chatty bits in my journal with me videos, just kind of catch up with you guys, because I don't know, sometimes just explaining what I'm doing in my journal spreads gets kind of tiring. So I thought we could have a nice moment to catch up. How are you all doing? Do you have any exciting plans in April? I know that I am particularly looking forward to the show Heartstopper. It is an adaptation of some of my favorite graphic novels, and I'm so excited for it. I think it looks so great, and I'm just really excited to see this very special and cute and wholesome story come to life on screen. If you're looking forward to it, definitely let me know. We can have a moment to scream about it in the comments. But yeah, definitely let me know how you guys are doing. Any exciting plans or things you're looking forward to in April? Definitely let me know. Alright, back to the journaling things. So I am actually doing something a little bit different. So this is kind of like my favorites area of the month, and normally I just have one page dedicated to kind of music, lifestyle, and entertainment things that I was loving throughout a single month. But this month I decided to make a whole separate page for my April playlist. I update a playlist on Spotify with any current music or albums that I was listening to during that month. So my plan is, I thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of print out the album covers or the song covers of the music that I was listening to in April and put them in the picture frame. So as you can see, there are some frames that are bigger than others. So will be where I print out the covers of the albums and put them in there. And then if there's any frames that kind of end up being empty because I didn't fill them, I can just draw different doodles. But I thought that would be kind of a cool way to show what music I was listening to in April. Obviously, it does look a little bit empty now because I don't have anything printed out yet. I haven't figured out what music is going to come into my life in April yet. So I just did some of the doodles in some of the smaller frames where I wouldn't be able to fit an album cover in. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty empty right now, but I think it'll be a cool way to show the music that I was loving during the month of April. And then on the right side is where I'll just keep track of all of the other normal favorites that I keep track of in my monthly spread. So I have a section for lifestyle-y things and entertainment, and I just kind of did these boxes that kind of continue on from the lettering. I just thought that would be a kind of different way than just drawing a another picture frame for the boxes, and then I did do some picture frames with some doodles kind of scattered on that page. But yeah, I definitely wanted to keep track of other things that I was loving throughout April, but I wanted to kind of do something that would be a little bit more theme oriented, and that's why I did the playlist thing separately. But I'm still really happy with how the favorites page turned out. So on the next spread is going to be my habit tracker, and similar to the kind of playlist spread, I wanted to really incorporate my habit tracker into the theme. So I decided to draw a bunch of frames. As you saw, I kind of just edited out me actually drawing and coloring them in because you've seen that a million times. But I decided to put the actual habits I'm tracking within the different frames. So I just have a few frames big enough to kind of draw in that little calendar kind of thing to keep track of when I do certain habits. And I don't know, it's a bit chaotic because obviously it's all over the place with this kind of theme, but I thought it would be a cool way to incorporate the theme into my habit tracker, and I think it'll look even cooler when I actually start filling up and I actually start filling out my habit tracker for the month. And then on the right side, I once again have a brain dump page just for anything that I need to write down, any random notes, any reminders, anything like that. It's a good place to kind of just be able to literally dump anything that crosses your mind into one place, just in case you need to remember it for later. So I wanted to keep it pretty empty, so I have plenty of space for everything that I want to write down. So I did draw a couple of photo frames and a couple of doodles in the corner, but again, wanted to keep it relatively simple and open for me to write anything I need to. So moving on to the final spread, which is going to be my first weekly spread. I am once again doing a very similar setup to what I've done all year, the kind of 8 different boxes, one for a mini calendar of an overview of the entire month, and then these other 7 boxes are for my to-do list for every day. I just really like this setup, this layout. I think it works really well for me, and it's the perfect amount of space that I need for what I use my bullet journal for. I did put the mini calendars into the kind of photo frame thing just to kind of bring the theme into the weekly spreads, but I wanted to keep them nice and simple just so I had plenty of space to write everything. So did the similar boxes that kind of continue on from the hand lettering that I did, and that is what all of my weekly spreads ended up looking like. But that is it. Those are all of my spreads for April. So here's a final flip through of all of the spreads for this month. I would love to know what you think of this theme. I am still a little unsure. I think it was one of those themes that I thought kind of looked better in my head than actually executed, but it's too late now. I've already done it. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you did for your April spreads as well. But that is going to be it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.